What if I told you that a single penny, that tiny coin you might have tossed in a drawer or stepped over on the sidewalk, could be worth more than your house or your retirement savings, even millions in the right condition? You're about to discover 10 ordinary-looking 1-cent coins that are anything but ordinary. Each of these little copper treasures has a shocking story and a jaw-dropping price tag. So don't blink. By the time we reach coin number 1, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because you never know, the next fortune might just be hiding in your coin jar. First up, the year was 1982. Gas was cheap. MTV had just launched. And while the world was busy dancing to Michael Jackson, the US Mint made a tiny decision that would change the course of coin collecting forever. That year, they switched the penny's composition from solid copper to copper-plated zinc. Now, that may not sound exciting, but here's where it gets wild. During the transition, both types of pennies, heavy copper ones and lighter zinc ones, were being struck in 7 different variations: large date, small date, copper, zinc, Philadelphia, Denver. It's a mess, a beautiful mess for collectors. The coin in front of us? A beat-up 1982 Lincoln cent. Worn edges, scratched surface. Looks like pocket change, right? The kind of coin you'd use to scratch off a lottery ticket. But hold on. Even in bad condition, it could hide a secret. In 2019, man in Massachusetts found a 1982D small date penny that was made of copper, a combo that wasn't supposed to exist. That single error penny, it was weighed, tested, verified, and valued at over $18,000 in a circulated state just like this one. And that's just the beginning. In mint condition, that same coin can fetch over $100,000 at auction. And if it has an off-center strike, double die, or even slight misalignment, boom, you're in the 6-figure zone, easily. One coin expert said, "It's like a gold nugget disguised as dirt. You just have to know what to look for." Collectors obsess over weight. Copper pennies weigh 3.11 grams. Zinc ones weigh 2.5. That tiny difference is the gateway to a massive payday. If you find a 1982D small date penny that weighs like a copper, hold onto your seat. That's the one the hobby world calls a ghost variant, because it was never supposed to exist. Only 2 verified examples are known in the world. Think about that. 2. That's rarer than most coins in the Smithsonian. Even coins in bad shape like this one can still fetch thousands if the composition and minting error line up just right. Now, here's the kicker. Most people don't even know this exists. They toss 1982 pennies aside like junk. They're everywhere, in drawers, jars, old coat pockets, coffee cans, but very few know how to spot the right one. So the next time you're holding a crusty old penny from 1982, don't scoff. Weigh it. Look closely at the date style. That small d could spell big money. And that's why this unassuming little coin, despite its rough shape, could be your lucky lottery ticket in disguise. Next up, let's raise the stakes even higher. First up, the year was 1982. Gas was cheap. MTV had just launched. And while the world was busy dancing to Michael Jackson, the US Mint made a tiny decision that would change the course of coin collecting forever. That year, they switched the penny's composition from solid copper to copper-plated zinc. Now, that may not sound exciting, but here's where it gets wild. During the transition, both types of pennies, heavy copper ones and lighter zinc ones, were being struck in 7 different variations: large date, small date, copper, zinc, Philadelphia, Denver. It's a mess, a beautiful mess for collectors. The coin in front of us? A beat-up 1982 Lincoln cent. Worn edges, scratched surface. Looks like pocket change, right? The kind of coin you'd use to scratch off a lottery ticket. But hold on. Even in bad condition, it could hide a secret. In 2019, man in Massachusetts found a 1982D small date penny that was made of copper, a combo that wasn't supposed to exist. That single error penny, it was weighed, tested, verified, and valued at over $18,000 in a circulated state just like this one. And that's just the beginning. In mint condition, that same coin can fetch over $100,000 at auction. And if it has an off-center strike, double die, or even slight misalignment, boom, you're in the six-figure zone, easily. One coin expert said, "It's like a gold nugget disguised as dirt. You just have to know what to look for." Collectors obsess over weight. Copper pennies weigh 3.11 grams. Zinc ones weigh 2.5. That tiny difference is the gateway to a massive payday. If you find a 1982D small date penny that weighs like a copper, hold onto your seat. That's the one the hobby world calls a ghost variant. Because it was never supposed to exist. Only 2 verified examples are known in the world. Think about that. 2. That's rarer than most coins in the Smithsonian. Even coins in bad shape like this one can still fetch thousands, if the composition and minting error line up just right. Now, here's the kicker. Most people don't even know this exists. They toss 1982 pennies aside like junk. They're everywhere in drawers, jars, old coat pockets, coffee cans, but very few know how to spot the right one. So the next time you're holding a crusty old penny from 1982, don't scoff. Weigh it. Look closely at the date style. That small d could spell big money. And that's why this unassuming little coin, despite its rough shape, could be your lucky lottery ticket in disguise. Next up, let's raise the stakes even higher. Moving on. And this time, we're dialing it back to 1975. Gerald Ford was president. The Vietnam War had just ended, and disco was turning up the volume across America. But while people were hitting the dance floor, the U.S. Mint was quietly striking 1-cent coins business as usual, or so they thought. At first glance, a 1975 Lincoln penny in circulated condition doesn't seem like anything special. The one we're looking at, it's seen some life. Scratches, wear, dull surface, the kind of coin you'd find buried at the bottom of your glove box or stuck between couch cushions. But here's where it gets crazy. Most collectors write off 1975 pennies as common. Over 5 billion were minted in Philadelphia alone, and nearly 4.5 billion more in Denver. That's a sea of copper, but in that ocean, a handful of errors so rare, so unexpected. They've rewritten what a penny can be worth. One of the most prized versions, the 1975 double die obverse. That's where the letters "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" appear with a subtle, almost ghostly doubling. It's barely visible to the untrained eye, but under magnification, it pops. That one tiny detail can skyrocket the value of a coin from a cent to over $35,000 in circulated condition. Yes, even with scratches, even with wear. That's the beauty of it. But wait, it gets more intense. Another collector's dream is the 1975 off-metal strike. In one shocking case, a penny was struck on a 10-cent planchet, same design, wrong metal. It came out silver-colored, thinner, and completely illegal, according to mint standards. That coin, which looked more like a weird dime than a penny, sold for $160,000 at auction. Still, think pennies aren't worth much? Now, here's something wild. In 1975, the mint was gearing up for the bicentennial coins for 1976 quarters, halves, and dollars. During that ramp-up, planchets and dies were moving fast. Errors were slipping through. A few rogue 1975 cents even show signs of being struck with misaligned dies, meaning the stamp came down just off target, creating a coin with a shifted image or partial design. And those? They've pulled in as much as $12,000, even after circulating for decades. So imagine this, the 1975 penny sitting in your junk drawer right now, worn out, ignored, maybe even a little dirty, could be worth more than a new car, if it has the right twist. And here's the twist you can't ignore. Most of these rare varieties have never been graded, never submitted, never checked. That's where the real excitement is. It's not just what's already been found, it's what's still out there, waiting. Circulated coins like this are where the big surprises come from. They've been passed around, spent, forgotten, but sometimes, just sometimes, they carry secrets the mint never meant to release. So before you toss that 1975 penny aside, take a second look, because under that dull copper, there might be $100,000 hiding in plain sight. Next up, the year is 1978. America was humming to the Bee Gees. Gas was 65 cents a gallon, and the US Mint was cranking out pennies like it was just another day at the office. Over 8.4 billion 1-cent coins were struck that year. That's right, billions. With a B. So let's ask the question right up front. How on earth could a 1978 penny, especially one in circulated condition, scratched up, dull, worn down by time, possibly be worth a fortune? Well, buckle up, because this humble-looking coin, it's one of the most overlooked jackpots in US coin collecting history. Let's start with the little-known truth. Not all 1978 pennies are created equal. While most were struck in either Philadelphia or Denver, a small number, and we mean tiny, were minted with misaligned dies, double strikes, off-center images, and in some cases, even the wrong metal altogether. Take the 1978 double die obverse, for example. These are the coins where the letters like Liberty or the date appear ever so slightly duplicated. It's subtle, easy to miss, but if you spot one, even in circulated condition, you're suddenly holding $15,000 to $20,000 in your hand. And if that coin's in better shape, bidding wars can send the price soaring past 60,000. And that's not even the rarest version. Some 1978 Lincoln cents were accidentally struck on foreign planchets, small, lightweight metal blanks meant for coins from other countries. These mistakes weren't supposed to leave the mint, but a few slipped through. The result? A normal-looking penny, a little off in color or weight, but to the trained eye, a total freak of nature. One such coin, verified by grading experts, was struck on a Philippine 1 centavo planchet, and it sold for over 90,000. Here's where things get really interesting. Circulated coins, like the one we're looking at now, are often where these surprises show up. Why? Because no one thinks to check them. They've been tossed in change jars, slid through vending machines, dropped on sidewalks, completely ignored for decades. But that beat-up penny might weigh less than it should, or look slightly thinner, or have a mint mark that's misaligned, missing, or deeply punched. And those are the exact clues collectors spend years searching for. There's also the incredibly rare 1978 by variety, a die break error between the B and E in Liberty that looks like the letter I has appeared out of nowhere. It's caused by a small piece of the die cracking over time, creating a raised line. It's subtle, but unmistakable. These quirky little errors have sold for $2,000 to $5,000, depending on condition, and most of them came from ordinary circulation. So the next time you see a 1978 penny that looks like it's been through 100 pockets, don't toss it, weigh it. Look at it under a magnifier, because somewhere out there is a 1978 penny hiding a $100,000 secret. And it's probably not shiny. 4 coins in and the values keep climbing. Next up, the year was 1959. America was on the move. Alaska and Hawaii had just become states. Eisenhower was still in the White House, and the US Mint made a bold design change that would launch one of the most controversial pennies in American history. This was the birth of the Lincoln Memorial Cent. For 50 years before that, Lincoln's bust had graced the front of the penny, with 2 wheat stalks framing the back, the famous wheat penny. But in 1959, to mark Abraham Lincoln's 150th birthday, the mint replaced the wheat reverse with a sleek image of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. And while most people think of 1959 pennies as common, even in the bad condition like the one we're looking at right now, the truth is, a few of these coins slipped through the cracks of history and became legendary treasures. Let's start with the most shocking of all, the 1959D wheat reverse cent. Yes, you heard that right. In 1986, a man claimed he discovered a 1959 penny struck in Denver with the old wheat reverse design. That was supposed to have been retired the year before. Coin experts laughed. They said it was fake, that it couldn't possibly exist, but it did. The coin was submitted to PCG's, one of the most respected grading companies in the world. It passed every test, verified as 100% authentic. Only one example is known. And its value? Over $1.7 million. Let that sink in. Penny, in worn condition, struck with the wrong reverse. Worth nearly $2 million. Even today, numismatists still debate how it happened. Was it a mint error? A rogue employee? A leftover die used illegally? No one knows for sure, and that's what makes it so electrifying. But that's not the only story worth telling from 1959. Some early memorial cents were struck with die errors, including ghostly doubling on the date, the word liberty, or the phrase, "In God we trust." One such double die, even in a beat-up, circulated state, has sold for $10,000 to $15,000, depending on eye appeal and visibility. And here's another shocker: a few 1959 pennies were accidentally struck off-center or with broad strikes, where the coin expands beyond its normal size due to a missing retaining collar. These error coins, even in bad condition like this one, have fetched $5,000 to $8,000 at auctions. Let's not forget, 1959 was a year of transition. Changes were happening fast, and any time the mint undergoes a redesign, mistakes are more likely. That's why circulated coins from that year are prime targets for rare varieties, especially the ones no one bothered to check. The coin we're looking at right now may be scratched, dull, and worn down by time, but it could still hold one of those minting secrets. It could be one of the misstrikes, a ghost reverse, a double die, or something no one's even documented yet. Imagine that. A penny worth $1.7 million, hiding in a coin jar, passed from hand to hand for decades, just waiting to be discovered. So, the next time you spot a rough old 1959 penny, don't dismiss it. Turn it over, look closer, weigh it, check the reverse, because it just might be the next $1 million mistake. And if that doesn't give you goosebumps, wait till you see what's coming next. Moving on. And yes, we're heading back to 1978, but don't be fooled, because this time, we're going deeper. This is no ordinary coin story. It's a tale of routine gone wrong, of copper, pressure, and precision all thrown off by a single, silent mistake. Let's talk about the 1978 Lincoln cent again. But now, with a twist that most collectors don't even realize exists. This coin circulated, scratched, worn down by years of pocket change and soda machines doesn't look like much. But looks are deceiving, because in 1978, something strange was happening behind the scenes at the US Mint. First, let's get the basics out of the way. Over 8 billion pennies were made that year. That makes this one of the most common coins in American history. So why should we care? Because sometimes, the more coins you make, the more mistakes slip through the cracks. And some of those mistakes, worth more than a luxury car. Let's start with the shocking one. The 1978 Lincoln cent struck on a silver dime planchet. Imagine this, a coin meant to be copper, but struck on a small, silver-colored blank. The coin looks odd, the edges are clipped, the details are tight, and it doesn't feel quite right in your hand. That coin sold for $125,000. And guess what? It was found in circulation just like the coin you're looking at right now. That's the beauty of these oddities. They don't shine in display cases. They hide in plain sight. Another jackpot for collectors is the double die reverse. These rare errors cause lettering like 1 cent or United States of America to appear thick, shadowed, or even duplicated. It's not easy to spot, especially on a worn coin, but if you catch it, boom, $35,000, just like that. Then, we've got the floating roof error, a quirky variation where the lines that connect the roof of the Lincoln Memorial to the rest of the building are missing. It makes the roof look like it's hovering above the columns. Sounds like a minor thing, right? Wrong. That weird little detail can spike the value of a circulated 1978 penny up to $2,000 or more, depending on condition. And don't forget the buy error, a tiny die crack that forms a vertical line between the B and E in liberty, making it look like it spells buy. It's not rare, but it's collectible. And even in bad shape, coins with that error have sold for hundreds. But here's the real kicker. Some 1978 pennies were struck slightly off-center 5%, 15%, even up to 50%. These off-center coins can look bizarre, missing parts of Lincoln's head, missing letters, curved blank edges. The more dramatic the error, the higher the value. One 1978 penny with a 75% off-center strike, in circulated condition, went for $9,400 at auction. That's nearly 10 grand. For a coin most people would call damaged, it's not damaged, it's a jackpot. So yes, this might just look like another worn-out 1978 penny. But this year, more than most, produced a parade of minting mishaps. And every single one of those mishaps has the potential to turn a single cent into 5 figures or more. It's not about shine. It's not about mint sets. It's about errors, rare metals, planchet mistakes, ghost features, the things no one sees until someone does and cashes in. Still think that change in your junk drawer is worthless? Next up, 1976. America was throwing the party of the century. The bicentennial was in full swing. Red, white, and blue everything. Fireworks, parades, flags on every porch. And while the mint was busy creating special designs for quarters, halves, and dollars to celebrate the nation's 200th birthday, one coin didn't get the spotlight, the penny. But here's the twist. Even though the 1976 Lincoln cent didn't get a flashy redesign, some of the most jaw-dropping penny errors in U.S. history came out that year. And the worn, beat-up coin in front of us right now could be hiding one of those secrets. Let's get into it. First, this penny looks like any other. Lincoln's profile on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. It's been around, circulated, scratched, dinged. Maybe it's even been through the wash once or twice. Most people wouldn't look twice at it. But in 1976, something strange was happening at the mint. They were preparing millions of special bicentennial quarters, halves, and dollars. And all that attention on those coins meant quality control on the regular penny line. Let's just say, things slipped. And collectors know, when quality control drops, value goes up, way up. One of the most valuable 1976 penny variants is the double die obverse. This is where you'll see a ghost-like shadow on the date, or on "In God We Trust," even in bad condition like heavy circulation. If you've got one with a strong enough doubling, you're looking at a value of $15,000 to $20,000. Now, here's where it gets shocking. A small number of 1976 pennies were accidentally struck on foreign coin blanks, planchets meant for other countries. One was found struck on an aluminum blank, another on a bronze planchet intended for a foreign denomination. These mistakes are rare, and rare is expensive. One of these, wrong metal 1976 pennies sold at auction for $120,000, and that was a circulated coin. Scratched, dirty, just like this one. Then we've got the off-center strikes where part of Lincoln's face or the lettering is missing due to the coin being misaligned during minting. The more dramatic the error, the higher the price. A 50% off-center 1976 penny, in rough shape, $8,000. And let's not forget one of the weirdest and most collectible 1976 penny variants, the clipped planchet error, where a portion of the coin is literally missing. It looks like someone took a bite out of it. That damaged look? Don't be fooled. It's a mint error, and it's worth real money, sometimes $1,500 to $3,500 depending on the clip size and location. But here's the wild part. One 1976 penny was found with not just one but two major errors, an off-center strike and a die crack across Lincoln's head. The value? $24,000. For a penny, a coin that's smaller than a poker chip, older than most smartphones, and rougher than a truck stop penny tray. Now imagine this, a scratched-up 1976 penny in your hand, something you nearly spent on a gumball machine. Could be hiding a misstrike, a doubled feature, or the wrong metal altogether. And with just one of those errors, you're looking at life-changing money. So before you dismiss the old, worn-out copper coins in your collection, check them. Again, especially 1976, because that bicentennial year wasn't just about quarters and fireworks. It was also the year some of the most valuable pennies ever made slipped quietly into the world. Next up, 1981. Ronald Reagan was just months away from taking the White House. The U.S. was facing inflation, long gas lines, and a shifting economy. But while most Americans were focused on world events, something unusual was happening at the U.S. Mint, something that would make the 1981 Lincoln cent, even in bad condition, one of the most underestimated jackpots in coin collecting today. Let's take a look at the coin in front of us. It's worn, faded. You can barely see the details. The copper's dulled from years of use. Most folks would glance at it, maybe think, junk change, and toss it into a jar without a second thought. Big mistake, because 1981 is one of the final years before the U.S. Mint transitioned fully from solid copper pennies to copper-plated zinc. And during this transition, things got messy. And collectors love messy. There are 3 mint locations to look for in 1981: Philadelphia no mint mark, Denver D, and San Francisco S. Most people know about the business strikes from Philly and Denver, but here's the kicker: San Francisco struck proof coins, not for circulation. Yet, somehow, a small number of those 1981's proof pennies ended up in circulation. That means you could find a beat-up, circulated coin just like this one that was never meant to be released to the public. How rare is that? Try less than a handful confirmed, and each one valued over $60,000 even in rough shape. But that's just the start. 1981 is also famous for one of the most misunderstood and expensive doubling errors ever recorded. The 1981 double die obverse. It's not the dramatic kind with wild shadows. No, this one is sneaky. You'll see minor doubling on "In God We Trust," the date, or the word "liberty." If you're not looking for it, you'll miss it. And guess what? One of these error coins, even in heavy circulation, sold for $12,500 at auction. Now, let's talk about planchet errors, where a penny is struck on a blank meant for another coin. In 1981, there were multiple reports of pennies being struck on dime stock thinner and lighter metal, usually a silver-colored appearance. These bizarre, unexpected errors routinely sell for $90,000 to $125,000, depending on their condition. And yes, bad condition doesn't kill the value. In fact, many collectors specifically hunt for circulated rarities because they're more likely to have been passed around unnoticed. They're the sleeper coins, the underdogs. Let's not forget the filled mint mark error. In some 1981D and 1981S coins, the mint mark appears blobby, partially filled, or flattened. It's a subtle die issue, but some of these have brought in $2,000 to $3,500, just because they're so tricky to identify and authentic examples are rare. Here's a wild story. A retired postal worker in Michigan found a 1981D penny with both doubling and a misaligned die. The coin looked off-center, with a wavy edge. He kept it in a coffee tin for decades. Then, in 2021, he brought it to a coin show out of curiosity. That same coin later sold for $41,000 from a coffee tin. So don't let the condition fool you. This dirty, beat-up 1981 penny might be hiding a 6-figure secret. If it's a proof strike that escaped into circulation, if it's been struck on the wrong metal, if there's doubling, you're no longer looking at 1 cent. You're looking at a collector's dream. And guess what? We're not done yet. And finally, we arrive at 1993. Bill Clinton had just taken office. Jurassic Park ruled the box office. And while the world was looking ahead to the future, the U.S. Mint quietly struck over 14 billion Lincoln cents, more than any other coin that year. So you're probably thinking, 1993? Really? A penny from the 90s? In circulated condition? It sounds like the least exciting coin of the bunch. But don't look away just yet, because the 1993 Lincoln cent might be hiding one of the most bizarre and expensive mint mistakes of the modern era, and it's still baffling collectors today. Let's take a look at this circulated coin. It's worn, dull, probably been in thousands of hands. There are scratches, maybe some gum residue, and a hint of pocket lint. It's exactly the kind of coin you'd use to pay for parking without a second thought. But if you knew what I'm about to tell you, you'd never spend it. Because in 1993, the mint was well into producing pennies with copper-plated zinc blanks lighter, cheaper, and more prone to minting flaws. And flaws mean money. The most infamous 1993 penny error is known as the close AM reverse, of variety so rare, only a few have ever been confirmed. Here's the story. From 1993 to 2008, the mint used a reverse design where the letters A and M in America were spaced far apart. But for a brief moment in 1993, a proof die meant for a different series was accidentally used on a batch of regular business strike pennies. That die had the A and M almost touching the close AM design, and it was never meant for circulation, and that's where things get crazy. A regular 1993 penny in this worn condition, worth 1 cent, but a 1993 close AM penny, even in circulated shape, is worth $20,000 to $40,000. And in uncirculated condition, one sold privately for over $75,000. And here's the kicker, the vast majority of people have no idea this variety even exists. You can hold it in your hand, look right at it, and completely miss the difference, unless you're trained to spot it. That's why most of these are still out there hiding in junk drawers, bank rolls, vending machine change. Now, that's not the only potential payout in a 1993 penny. There have also been reports of off-metal strikes where pennies were struck on dime planchets or foreign blanks. One 1993 penny struck on a planchet intended for a Guatemalan coin, sold at auction for $14,500. Despite being in poor condition. Another stunning find, a double strike where the coin was struck twice by the die in a slightly shifted position. That coin looked mangled, irregular, even bent. And it still brought in $9,800 at auction. Let's also talk about die clashes and brockage errors, both of which were documented in 1993. These are wild minting accidents that leave ghostly impressions or mirror images of Lincoln's face and text in places they shouldn't be. And those types of coins, even when they look like a total mess, have sold for $5,000 to $18,000, depending on severity. Here's the bottom line. The 1993 Lincoln cent is one of the most dangerous coins to ignore, especially in circulated condition, because the mint wasn't watching, and these errors weren't supposed to happen. But they did, and when they show up, collectors go insane for them. So if you're holding a 1993 penny right now, grab a magnifier, check the spacing between the A and M in America, feel the weight, look for doubling, and don't throw it away not until you're sure, because in that beat-up little copper coin, the one most people overlook, could be a $40,000 mistake just waiting to be discovered. And that wraps up our countdown. 10 ordinary pennies with absolutely extraordinary stories.